They will not leave disappointed. This guy is unique, special, and we are privileged to be here today.
The Golden State Warriors enter the 2025-26 NBA season in their last dance era. Last season, the Warriors finished 48-34, largely salvaged by the midseason acquisition of Jimmy Butler. Golden State finished 15th in the league in offensive efficiency and 7th in defensive efficiency. The Warriors find themselves navigating the complex terrain between championship contention and inevitable rebuilding. General Manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. faces enormous pressure to balance competing priorities. The trio of Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler look to carry the franchise to one last battle for an NBA championship, with a revamped roster led by Al Horford. Still, it's the young core that will be needed, one way or another, to take this roster to the next level. Moses Moody and Brandon Podziemski represent different facets of the Warriors' youth movement, but both will be important this upcoming season. Moody, who seems set to be the starting shooting guard this upcoming season, will be tasked with being a true 3-and-D wing who can benefit from Curry and Butler's gravity. His defense, specifically his defensive IQ and ability to defend at the point of attack, should allow Golden State to cover Curry defensively. Podziemski is an all-around guard who should be in the running for the 6th Man of the Year award. Coming off the bench, Pod should get a healthy amount of on-ball reps, and his ability to adjust while playing with Curry and Butler should even see him snag minutes alongside the starters. A great defender who can fill in gaps with his outside shooting. Both Podziemski and Moody represent a rejuvenated backcourt around their Hall of Fame guard and will be a crucial part of this team's success. Golden State's success will largely rely upon Johnathan Kuminga, one way or another. After a contract standoff that lasted the entire summer, both the Warriors and Kuminga agreed to a 2-year, $48 million deal with a team option on the second year. That option essentially locks a future trade for the former lottery pick. Can Golden State balance out his minutes to get positive production while also boosting the ability to move him for a proper piece to this roster? Who is that player? Can Golden State potentially net someone at the caliber of Utah's Lauri Markkanen? Or does Sacramento come back into play for Kuminga, offering the likes of Keegan Murray? Golden State has several months to plan this out, but let's make this clear. The Kuminga trade offers another chance for the Warriors to ascend in the Western Conference and give the Curry era one last chance at winning a championship. Overall, I'm slotting Golden State as the 6th best team in the Western Conference. The trio of Curry, Butler, and Green should be able to carry and navigate this team to the playoffs, and the rest of their roster is good enough to stay out of the play-in games. Al Horford is a welcomed addition as a passer, shooter, and overall veteran presence. Moody and Pods are valuable two-way guards, and guys like Quentin Post, Buddy Hield, Gary Payton, and Trace Jackson-Davis should be able to fill gaps in the regular season. The Johnathan Kuminga trade is the pivot point, and if the Warriors hit on the correct talent to replace him, Golden State has an outside shot at winning an NBA championship. The 2024-25 Los Angeles Clippers were quietly dominant. With a record of 50-32, good enough for the 5th seed in the West, Los Angeles finished 14th in offensive efficiency and 3rd in defensive efficiency. James Harden, in his age 35 season, averaged 35 minutes a game and completed another All-NBA season. Ivica Zubac emerged as an elite defensive big man, while Norm Powell had a career year in the absence of Paul George. However, Kawhi Leonard finished with just 37 games played, and the Clippers fell in the first round of the playoffs. Now, after revamping the roster with an eye on one last shot of winning a championship, the Clippers, with very few assets to deal with, are in their best chance of pushing for reaching that goal. The biggest storyline for the Clippers is the unction, reuniting several veterans to back up their current aging roster. On one hand, injuries loom as a potential weakness for this roster. However, Los Angeles' depth could help them in preserving their best talents for the postseason. Chris Paul, in the final season of his career, will serve as a veteran backup to James Harden, while Bradley Beal will most likely start the season as the team's starting shooting guard. Brook Lopez, in his age 37 season, will offer another center solution behind Zubac, one that can space the floor and stifle shots at the rim. With Leonard, Harden, Nick Batum, and Bogdan Bogdanovic all in their mid to late 30s, the Clippers will largely lean upon a roster full of veterans. Ultimately, the Clippers lie between the best non-contender in the league and the last true contender for me. John Collins, acquired in a 3-team deal that saw Norm Powell shipped to Miami, should offer a solid power forward and an athleticism boost for this team. Head coach Ty Lue is one of the best coaches in the league, and Kawhi Leonard, when healthy, is a top 20 player in the league and often elevates his game when it matters most. However, after 5 seasons of injuries and so close moments, I'm not sure where to place them, but the roster is talented with several different areas of success. I'm placing the Los Angeles Clippers 5th in the Western Conference. Like a blockbuster film, this team has several big names who can still play and offer great basketball. There's a world where this all works out, and Los Angeles is closer to the top of the conference as opposed to being in the middle. Still, the Clippers have to prove that they can manage all the egos and playing time to get everyone to buy into the long-term goal and keep Kawhi Leonard healthy for the 16 games that matter the most. I'm in on the Clippers being good. I'm in on them battling against some of the best teams in the league. I'm just not sure if they can truly compete for an NBA championship. The Minnesota Timberwolves are in a special run in the franchise's history. Last season, Minnesota finished 49-33, good for 6th in the Western Conference, yet made it to their 2nd straight Western Conference final, knocking out the Los Angeles Lakers and Golden State Warriors in the process. Yes, the season finished in a 5-game series loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder, but it's clear to see Minnesota as a Western Conference power. The Wolves finished in the top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency, ranking 8th in offense and 6th in defense. Anthony Edwards' ascension into top 10 player status continued with numerous playoff moments, and Rudy Gobert remained an elite defender. With a roster of talented role players and a healthy collection of young players, the Wolves aim to battle their way back to continue their illustrious run, with the ultimate goal of securing an NBA championship. Minnesota's roster includes several talented players. Mike Conley is a stalwart at the point guard position, while Naz Reid has established himself as one of the best backup big men in the league. Jaden McDaniels is a versatile forward who can defend and stifle most players on the perimeter. However, I'm curious about last season's late arrivals, Julius Randle and Donte DiVincenzo. Randle was solid next season, but not without hiccups. Averaging 18.7 points, 7.1 rebounds, and 4.7 assists on 59% true shooting, Randle had record scratches within the offense, but remained an effective second scorer behind Edwards. DiVincenzo has a legitimate chance to win the 6th Man of the Year award, thanks to his knockdown shooting. Last season, Donte averaged 11.7 points, 3.6 assists, and 39.7% shooting from the outside, but clashed a bit with Edwards offensively. This upcoming season, the former Villanova Wildcat has a true chance to carve out a role off the bench, where he can run and operate the offense and have an ideal partner in Naz Reid to attack second units. Look for both Randle and DiVincenzo, now firmly entrenched in Minnesota's plans to have even better seasons in 2025. For all the positives, there's room for growth in Minnesota. For that, Minnesota might have to look at its youth to fill gaps. Terrence Shannon Jr. will get a chance to replace Alexander Walker, who departed for Atlanta this offseason. Shannon Jr. is a big-bodied wing who saw minutes in the postseason. While he might not replace NAW's defensive acumen, Shannon Jr. could offer another aggressive wing who can help in spurts. Minnesota needs Rob Dillingham, the 8th overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft, to step up. With Conley nearing age 40, Dillingham has a chance to emerge as a future starter. His game is electric offensively with an array of ball-handling moves to get open, but the rest of the game needs work. He needs minutes this season, but if the Wolves look to the trade market for anything, a point guard is ideal, which could mean Dillingham would be on the move. Lastly, I like Jalen Clark and Joan Berringer. Clark is a nice fourth guard to have, as the former UCLA Bruin shot 43% from the outside last season and looked comfortable doing so. Berringer is a rookie, so we won't expect much from him, but the minutes between Summer League and the preseason were solid, which could lead to some spot minutes in the regular season. Minnesota is top-heavy financially, which means it'll have to rely on some cheap options to fill gaps. Between Shannon Jr., Dillingham, Clark, and Berringer, the Wolves have some options to get them through the regular season. I'm higher on Minnesota than most, having them slotted as the fourth-best team in the Western Conference. The Wolves have a star in Anthony Edwards and an elite defensive presence in Rudy Gobert. Those two endpoints allow them to shuffle and create the roster around that with much success. McDaniels assists Gobert on the defensive end, while Randall is Edwards' partner in crime on offense. Conley slots right in the middle as a two-way threat. I'm high on head coach Chris Finch, and they have a small space here to make a trade for a backup point guard if they truly want to. I'm high on Minnesota, and wouldn't be shocked if they knocked on the door of the Western Conference Finals once again.